All right, Rachel, we are live. Hi, everyone. I'm Jawna Standish. I'm your host of the JustDAOIt Masterclass Series. I'm also the head of business development at MIDAO, which is the Marshall Islands DAO LLC provider. I'm also involved in a couple of DAOs myself. I'm a founding member at FTW DAO, which is a venture capital DAO, and I'm part of Peacekeepers, which is an on-chain dispute resolution project. And I'm really happy to be here today and super excited to be hosting this Masterclass series, which is an offshoot actually of the JustDAOIt podcast, which is founded by MIDAO's founder and CEO, Adam Miller. So today I am so excited to welcome Rachel Brissenden from Opolis and Crypto Sapiens and USC, and now I hear maybe writing a book and also involved in some Breaking Bad discussions. So Rachel, I would like to welcome you. And first of all, thank you for your time. I know how busy you are, and I know what a in-demand resource you are these days. So I'd like to have you introduce yourself because I certainly won't do it justice. And I'd like to turn it over to you, and then we'll just jump into what we're going to discuss today and get into with you.
Wow. First of all, so much gratitude for that introduction. Thank you, Jawna, for all your kind words. And I just appreciate you, being a pillar in our Web3 community and just being such a positive force and a good friend to me as well. So thank you for showing up and being you and for inviting me on today. I've been a longtime fan of MIDAO. Adam Miller is awesome. I've been wanting to come on JustDAOIt, and now this being the next iteration, the spinoff, we're doing this masterclass today to talk a little bit about Web3, solo entrepreneurship, running your own business, open enrollment and compliance. We'll get into all that. But as far as my introduction, just to give a little context to some of these things. So yes, Jawna, I am writing my first book. This is the second time I've publicly spoken about this. But yeah, I facilitated a workshop at the University of Southern California. Shout out to my SoCal people listening to this. Shout out to Adam Miller. I'm sure he'll listen to this as well. But I did my workshop at the University of Southern California, and saying yes to that one opportunity just kind of had this network effect of bringing all these different opportunities into my life. For instance, I met with Daniel Moncada, and he is an actor known for his roles in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. So lo and behold, he's actually working on a Web3 project called Meme NFT. So I had a chance to meet with him, and they're like surrounded by this camera crew recording a Netflix documentary, I found out. I got to ask him some questions, and they had me sign a waiver after. I'm like, hey, we got some good footage. Can we include this in our documentary next year? I'm like, absolutely, yes. Let's talk more about Web3, bringing the power of decentralized technologies and business models into the mainstream. So that is something that happened at USC. One of many really good things.
That is super cool and exciting. And how did that all happen? Can I ask? Like, how did the whole USC and Breaking Bad and this now author opportunity make its way to you?
Okay, so actually, I need to give credit here because there is this up and coming community called Y3K. If you look up Y3K Quest on Twitter or X now, you'll see their community on there. And they've just really blown this whole thing out of the water. This event it was just perfectly curated with all these workshops, really, really high level, high caliber of attendees. Like we had the Blonde Broker, if anyone's familiar, the Blonde Broker came out. Wendy O. We had the Netflix documentary crew. I think the Blonde Broker is working on something for next year, which is why the actor from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul came. So at this event, I come in and the introduction panel is just phenomenal, right? We got Wendy O up there, the Blonde Broker, some amazing speakers talking about Web3, the future of blockchain technology, the current climate as well, and cryptocurrency, especially in the US, which is pretty tumultuous, but all these amazing minds coming up and just educating people at a university, at USC. It was just amazing. And then my workshop was immediately after that. So yeah, just like rode the wave of that buzz of excitement, got to meet Wendy O, the Blonde Broker. And then, went into my presentation, which focused on professional pathways for entrepreneurs. Now, this is not specific to Web3. This is for anyone that wants to embark in a solo entrepreneur journey as a freelancer. Anyone that wants an alternative pathway to traditional W-2 work, we can show you the way. So aside from that, you mentioned the book as well. So this USC event, and it blows my mind how many opportunities came from this one thing, like this network effect or butterfly effect. So it was really cool to see. So I connected with Suzeta Hippolito. Shout out to Suzeta Hippolito. She hosted a workshop, which is right up my alley. And it was about uncovering your why, unleashing your ultimate potential through honing in on your purpose. So that is really essential to my core. And I actually have this book here, Ikigai. I talk about this pretty often when I'm speaking. I always bring it back to the why. If anyone's familiar with this Venn diagram, it's basically finding your life's purpose through what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for. I talk about this all the time.
I love it.
So yeah, she touched on similar topics. We connected, and she recommended me for this author opportunity. She said, "Oh, I know a bunch of female entrepreneurs that are getting together. They're best-selling authors. We got our book in Barnes and Noble, and we're just ready to go on this next cohort, right? And there's one more spot left." And I'm like, yes, strong yes to the opportunity. And now I'm in these weekly calls with all of these amazing female entrepreneurs and best-selling authors. And we are going to be co-authoring our book, Impact-Driven Entrepreneurship. And that will be coming out next year. And we'll be getting it in Barnes and Noble, bookstores, going on a book tour, doing signings, the whole shebang. So I'm really excited for that. Shout out to Wendy Weiss, if Wendy listens to this. She's leading that initiative.
Shout out to Wendy and everyone you mentioned. And this, for anyone tuning in, we will tag all of the people that Rachel has mentioned here, and we'll repost this so that if they want to follow or get in touch with those people, and we'll definitely do that. Well, Rachel, that's amazing. And I love to see all these wonderful things happening for you, because you said a lot of kind words about me, and I feel that, I'm going to throw roses at you also, because, for anyone that's not met Rachel yet, you should definitely meet her, find out where she is and meet her. You're the most approachable person, and you have such a nice energy. And I feel like that fireplace setting is perfect. And I found out it's real,
September.
Right?
It's September here in California. I do it for the vibes, like the fireplace, the fireside chat vibes. So yeah, Jawna, I really want to comment on something you said. So I do believe in accessibility. I don't believe in creating this detachment from the community. I'm a very community-driven person. So I share my Calendly. I schedule calls with anyone that wants to schedule time with me. If I can make the time and have a conversation with you, I love that. I'm a very human-centric builder. I believe in human connection and building symbiotic relationships. So Jawna, I'll throw you my Calendly link. Not literally throw you. I don't think I can throw it to Gracie, but I will send you my Calendly link if you want to share.
Absolutely. It's same. That's why, for anyone tuning in, that's why I connected with Rachel in the first place. It's like a kindred spirit, the same way. And, I share my background. I'm located in Athens, Greece. And one thing that Rachel and I discovered, we met at ETH Denver in 2022, and we've bumped into each other all over the world. And I've had the good fortune of getting to hang out with Rachel and learn more. And one thing we both discovered is we're both California girls, except you're still there rocking the Golden State, and I'm here in Athens, where it's not daytime, but you wouldn't see the background if it were night. And
I thought that was real. Wow.
Actually, this is my real background, but this is when it's daytime. So I just took a picture of it. So.
That is so cool. Wow. I really hope that we get a chance to collaborate on the Athens DAO event happening in December. I'm really, really looking forward to that, and in talks to collaborate there. And also, I really enjoyed our lunch in Paris, Jawna. That was so much fun.
We had such a great time. And that's why I'm so excited to talk to you today. And for anybody that's tuning in, I think it's so important that solopreneurs, or just gig, people might call them gig workers, solopreneurs, badasses, whatever you want to call yourself. People that are there in the grind every day, people that are passionate about what they're doing. I discovered Opolis through Rachel, actually, and through your colleague, Jeremy. And I think it's such an important utility and project that is available not only to web3, but I also think a lot of people in web2, or people that have a foot in both camps, could really benefit. So what Rachel and I thought could be a really interesting topic for the audience today is to really dig into how Opolis can really help out the solopreneur. So Rachel, why don't you get into what our 3 learning objectives are, and then we can switch over to some of the slides that you have, and then we can just really get into the whole discussion here.
Absolutely. Yeah. So thank you so much. Just really perfectly worded introduction. So yeah, today's masterclass topic, we're going to be talking about how you can transition to becoming a solo entrepreneur. And as Jawna mentioned, this is not specific to web3. So we really at Opolis act as a bridge from the web2 to web3 employment pathway, right? So we're a framework of employment for individuals who want to have all the benefits of a corporate position, who don't want to give up that security while also having freedom and ownership of their work. So we'll get into all of that. Number one, what I want to cover is helping you to understand the difference between traditional W-2 and freelance work. Number two is understanding the pathway to becoming a solo entrepreneur and what you need to do to start your own business, to incorporate, pay yourself payroll, et cetera. And then number three, how to ensure you're compliant as a business owner. Now, this is a big one, especially our web3 DAOist entrepreneurs earning in crypto. We still got to, handle our taxes and do things like, pay rent and, get a lease on a car or, rent an apartment. All those things require legal proof of income. They require you to pay your taxes on a federal and state level. So we're primarily based in the US, and I'll go over all the nuances of Opolis. But yeah, that's pretty much the shebang here, learning objectives and the masterclass topic. So yeah, Jawna, whenever you're ready, I'll go ahead and share the slides.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, Rachel.
All right. So like I mentioned, Opolis, we are the future. We're building the future of work built by independents for independent professionals. So our agenda for today, we're going to start with why we're here, and then we're going to get into traditional jobs versus independent work and really highlight the differences and the pros and considerations of each. And then we're going to tie that back into what is Opolis and open up for Q&A. I know Jawna has some questions prepared for me today. And yeah, if we can see any questions coming in, I'm not sure if this will be live on LinkedIn. But if you see this on LinkedIn afterwards, I'm happy to answer questions in our comment section.
Yeah, and I should just let the audience know here that if anyone wants to get in touch with Rachel during this or me, I put my Telegram chat up here. So mine's JustDAOIt, and Rachel, I'm not sure what yours is, but nonetheless.
Rachel Rose B.
Okay.
Rachel Rose B.
Rachel Rose B. Okay, great. And then we'll mention this throughout the session as well for anybody that's just jumping in mid-session. And as questions roll in, I'll be tallying them through Telegram, LinkedIn, and anywhere else, okay?
Awesome. Thank you, Jawna. All right. So why are we here? We are seeing a very massive transition now. We're seeing a lot of tech layoffs, right? If anyone remembers last year and in 2020, there were a ton of tech layoffs. I think in the Bay Area where I was living at the time, something like 79,000 tech workers were laid off. So basically what this is showing us is job security is a myth, right? And we have a quote from Tim Gerner here, CEO of Gerner Group, a big player in the real estate investment industry. So yeah, before getting into the quote here, just look at all the tech layoffs here. It really shows that individuals are expendable to these larger corporations. You are essentially a number at the end of the day, helping them get to their bottom line. So we say job security is a myth at Opolis because if you are tied to one larger centralized corporate entity, they can let you go at any time for any reason without notice, so long as it's not illegal. And that is called the at-will employment law. We'll get into that a little bit more in this presentation. So Tim Gerner, we're going to quote the lovely CEO of Gerner Group. He says, unemployment has to jump to 40 to 50% in my view. We need to see pain in the economy. We need to remind people that they work for the employer, not the other way around. So, yeah.
Wait a minute, but this was in 2023 or 1950?
So 2023. Right. Yeah. Right. It's so outdated mindset, such an outdated mindset. So Tim Gerner, right? I feel like he is kind of a symbol of the ethos of a lot of these larger, conglomerates and tech corporations, and not even just in tech, right? These big corporate entities whose main interest is monetary versus impact or the individual, which I'm not saying that across the board. There are some out there that are more privy to empowering the individual, right? Right. But this is just one example here. And I have to say at Opolis, we have the exact opposite mindset. So what is the solution to this problem here? Workers are now moving to independence. So we're seeing, in 2019, the total US labor force was 160 million. Full-time employees in the US in 2019 was 130 million. freelancers and contractors in the US has raised to 57 million in 2019 and is projected to raise to 90 million in 2028. So we are seeing a steady increase of people moving to freelance and contractor work, right? And I think this really stemmed from pandemic times, right? When we realized we can be more productive working from home. I actually recently read an article from Forbes. It said the average worker that goes into the office, right? They are paid for an 8.8 hour workday. They typically only spend 3 of those hours actually producing or being productive, right, at their job. Now, startlingly, the Upwork did a study that showed people working from home are productive a lot more, so much more of that time, right? And I think that ties back into commuting hours, right? People commuting to their jobs. Having less distraction and less cost of commuting and going to an office, right? And you could do everything from home more productively than going into an office. So, employers are catching on to this. And I think that really is one of the reasons we're moving more and more towards independence, more contract work. Any questions so far, Jawna? Am I going too fast here?
No, this is great. And it just really resonates with me because I think that mentality of the whole, you have to be here and show up in the office, it's good for optics and things like that. I just, I do think that there's still a very large percentage of the population that believes that. But there's more and more of us that have personally experienced the freedom and flexibility with having the ability to work from home. Like we're very fortunate that we get to do this. So for anybody tuning in, I know a lot of people that, for me, I've been very fortunate my entire career to really never have to go to an office. There have been a couple of times where I've been challenged to come into the office and it just didn't work out for me so well. So I just know that there are more and more people that would like to have this independence so that they could have a little bit more flexibility in their lives, because it's hard to manage a family and children or aging parents or anything really. It's just hard to commuting 3 hours a day and spending $200 a week or euros a week on petrol or gas and tolls. It's a lot.
Absolutely. And I just want to show our listeners and viewers today this piece of literature right here. This has really inspired me and educated me on my journey. And I spoke a bit about this at the DAOIt in Paris, Jawna. So the sovereign individual, this talks about mastering the transition into the information age and how to take sovereignty over your employment, over your finances, all of it. So this is a big piece of literature, significant piece of literature that inspired me in regard to this topic. Okay, so what are the benefits of W-2 work? Why do people still work W-2 jobs? I think the answer lies in security, right? The reliable paycheck, that safety net, right? Proof of income, simplified tax deductions, healthcare and retirement benefits. These are all things, the pros of W-2 work that we offer at Opolis. So we believe that you should take that safety net and be able to take it with you as an independent solo entrepreneur and not sacrifice any of those benefits that you would get at a corporate position. So all the pros of W-2 work we provide to you through an Opolis membership. Now, what are the considerations? Go ahead.
Sorry, can I just interrupt you here? Sorry about that.
Absolutely, go for it.
For anybody tuning in that's from outside of the US, so a lot of people, can you just explain what W-2 is and maybe equate that to like a European or somebody from the Middle East or Africa, just so that people know, because not everyone has W-2.
That's actually a really good point you bring up. So our Canadian friends, right? This would be, I believe, I'm forgetting, it's like a Y4 or something. They have Canadian incorporations there. We are only active in the US and we're working on expanding to Canada and places like Puerto Rico as well. Now, the best way to translate this to other countries and other jurisdictions would be basically we are helping to issue you legal proof of income, right? When you go to get a mortgage on your house, when you go to get, your apartment or car, you have that legal proof of income. In the United States, we call it a W-2. And annually, you use that to pay your taxes and show your proof of income. We also do semi-monthly pay stubs. So we help to process your payroll and issue you pay stubs and make sure you're compliant with your federal and state taxes in the US. Now, I don't know exactly what that looks like from country to country, but I hope that helps to answer that.
That does. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, these are some of the pros of traditional work. And yeah, for those listening in other countries, this is where you are on the books, full-time employed by an organization, solely by that organization. Now, some of the considerations are your employer owns your time. You have limited diversity in expanding your income streams, and the at-will employment law, which I discussed. So there's no real job security. You can be let go at any given time based on that organization's needs. And permissioned benefits. At Opolis, it's more permissionless benefits. They travel with you, you select your packages, and you can work from anywhere you want with anyone at any time, right? You have sovereignty and ownership over your employment and your benefits. Any questions so far?
No, this is great. This is super helpful.
Awesome. I hope I'm not going too fast and like covering too much.
This is perfect.
Okay.
This is perfect. I see some questions coming in, but I'll save them for the end.
Awesome. Yeah, we got a Q&A slide at the end, and I'm happy to answer questions. Okay, so independent work, some of the benefits of that. We love at Opolis that you own your time and work as a freelance worker. And you have the flexibility to work on your passions. Me, for instance, I guess I'll share a little bit about my story, right? I think people learn best through storytelling versus just data. So I'll tell you a little bit about my story. So I got into web3 working at a major layer 1 blockchain organization. I was earning full-time in crypto. And this actually made some pain points for me in my life, such as, looking for an apartment in the Bay Area. Try showing your MetaMask wallet to a landlord. It's not going to get you very far. So joining Opolis, it gave me that legal proof of income now. I was able to show my W-2, able to show my pay stubs, and I was able to earn in crypto full-time, work on my passion while also having those compliance boxes checked, right? And now also the flexibility to work on your passions. This led to so many other opportunities, right? It led me to Opolis. It led me to Bankless DAO, to Crypto Sapiens. Now I'm full-time working at Opolis, but I also have other streams of income and other projects that I work on that I'm passionate about. For instance, I'm hosting and producing Crypto Sapiens, which is a huge passion of mine. And I'm also in talks, I haven't mentioned this live yet, but also in talks to work with a tree planting project called Tree Gens. They're planting trees in Kenya, and I'm all about the regen vibes and doing good things for our planet. Jawna, we actually met on the Sustainable Development DAO way, way back. So I know you'd be happy to hear that.
We were going to plant trees together a long time ago.
Well, hey, the opportunities are coming up, and it's never too late to get involved with projects that are doing good things for our planet.
That is so true.
Yeah, so you'll definitely see more about Tree Gens in my future. So this is just my story of independent work. I went from working full-time in crypto, having all these pain points, discovering Opolis, falling in love, and going into this rabbit hole that I never came out of, basically. I was just doing research, like, it checked every box to me, right? Like, this makes sense. And this will help legitimize employment, not only in the Web3 space, but for independent workers. Now, the consideration, so independent work has the word work in it for a reason. It is work, right? But we try to make that a bit easier at Opolis by helping you manage your business and personal tax withholdings. In the United States, we have something called FUTA and SUTA, and those are federal and state taxes for business owners. We help with deducting all of those, so you don't have to do any math. And I know for me, I love that. I don't want to do math because as an independent worker, you have to set aside something like 30 to 40% of your taxes for the IRS in the US. Unintentional rhyme there. So yeah, we also help with healthcare, retirement, and other benefits that we help you manage individually. You can also have a solo and group option for plans, which we'll get into in this slide deck. Another thing too, it can feel pretty scary and it can feel pretty lonely due to lack of support and security. Something I will say at Opolis, and I've been working on this for over a year now, I have been growing the community at Opolis. I've been growing our partnerships. So when you join Opolis, you not only have all those benefits, but you're also connected to a very large network. Our founder is also the founder of ETH Denver too. So there's a lot of crossover to the ETH Denver community, like Jawna was saying. Do you have something, Jawna?
No, I was just going to say, I think that's so important because it reminds me even of like co-working spaces, right? People go to them because they can feel lonely, and sometimes you feel like you lack support from a community, or you just want to be around people and have some community. So I think that's so important. And I didn't know that about Opolis. So I think that's a really fun fact and an important fact about having that support network all around you.
Come on down to ETH Denver, you guys. If you partner with Opolis and come to ETH Denver, I promise I will meet up with you. I will just make sure that you have a good time. You meet a lot of projects. And yeah, ETH Denver is just the best, in my opinion, the best community innovation festival for Web3 in the world. We had 58,000 people come out this year. It just keeps growing year by year. So yeah, if anyone has any questions about that, feel free to reach out to me. Rachel Rose B on Telegram. There's a lot of crossover on our teams. Yeah, so where was I? Just talking about how it can be a bit lonely and scary as a freelancer. The really cool thing about Opolis is joining this cooperative. We are structured as a Colorado LCA. So you become a partial owner in this cooperative. And how cool is that? That you stack up work tokens, that gives you skin in the game. I'll get into our tokenomics in a little bit, but that gives you more governance and voting rights. It makes you a partial owner in this cooperative. So you are joining as an independent with a cooperative of independence, kind of like a union, right? So I just think that's one of the coolest aspects of this that really helps Opolis stand out and helps you to not be as alone as an independent worker. And I'm sorry for I will passionately rant at times about this because it lights me up and gets me excited.
No,
so I apologize.
I love it, Rachel. I was saying I'll drink to that. I'll drink my water to that.
Awesome. Cheers. I will drink my coffee to that. I got my GM mug here. So GM, it's all my crypto sapiens out there.
GM.
So yeah, and this is something I worked on with my colleague. We were trying to get this down to a really concise synopsis of what Opolis is. So Opolis is an employment framework that provides you with all the benefits of a corporate job while allowing you to be in business for yourself. I hope that's simple and digestible enough, but yeah, that's basically what it is. We help you to be in business for yourself while having all those benefits.
Amazing.
And now the main things we're offering are payroll, employment benefits, and membership perks. That's where the work tokens come in and payroll mining. We'll start with the member benefits. And yeah, so at Opolis, you have access to health, dental, and vision. And our members typically save 20 to 50% over the state exchanges. Not only do you save, but we have Cigna's largest national network. So with let's say if anyone's heard of Medi-Cal, right? If you're from California, Jawna, I'm sure you've heard of that. So the state exchange, you typically pay more out of pocket, number one. And number two, you're actually limited to about, I think, 1% of that state's providers. With Opolis, you have national healthcare coverage, so that insurance travels with you. And you can work on as many projects as you like. You're not stuck with one project. You just update your amount of income in your membership dashboard, and we go from there as far as your benefits coverage. No waiting period for initial benefits. You can start and enroll in Opolis, and your benefits become active at the first of the month. So yeah. We also offer group and solo 401k, Roth and traditional IRA. It is such a good feeling to be saving for retirement while working in Web3. I think that's one of the best feelings ever. Have you heard of, Jawna, there's this docu-series on Netflix. It's called Money Explained. Have you heard of that?
I have, yes.
Okay, Money Explained. I think episode 4 is the retirement episode. Check out the retirement episode. There are some pretty staggering statistics in there. It talks about how the average, at least American worker, needs to save about $1 million for retirement. Since we have all these advances in the medical system, right? We're living longer. With inflation in the US, things are getting more and more expensive. So yeah, that is the projected amount that the average American needs to retire with. So saving for retirement, at least in the United States, and I think this is a international thing too, it's getting more and more important to have that safety net as you get older. So yeah, definitely educate yourself, become financially literate, and learn about these things because we are experiencing a massive shift on an international level. So anyway, other insurances, we have FSA and HSA. So in the US, HSA basically means that your health savings account rolls over year after year. FSA means you have to spend that savings within that year. It does not roll over into the next year. And we can explain the nuances of that if you want to schedule time. We can go deeper into the insurance stuff. I know it's not exactly super exciting.
But it's so important, right? I mean, if you live in another country outside of the US, you can walk into any hospital or healthcare provider without showing it's not the same as the US. The US, it's a different situation. In some cases, I think it can be a sad situation that,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, yeah, so we won't even get into that now, but I think it's so important that, you know, you talk about all this. And yeah, maybe it's not a sexy topic, insurance, but we all need it, we all want it, and it's so important to our livelihood every day.
I'm going to quote our co-founder. So this quote, I feel like perfectly sums this up. So Eddie Pastor, our co-founder, says, insurance is the least important thing until it's the most important thing, right? Until you get into an accident, until you or a loved one gets sick, right? And you need that healthcare. It's the most important thing till it's the least important thing until it's the most important thing.
It's so true. And I also read some statistics that said the average, again, since we're talking about an American audience right now, the average American, this is almost embarrassing, spends more time planning a vacation than they do on retirement planning, healthcare planning, and any sort of like annual insurance, making sure that you're not overspending and making sure that you're taking coverage where you should have it, where you don't. So that says a lot. It says a lot.
That does not surprise me at all. This is usually such a secondary thought. And I think in Money Explained, right, they actually have psychologists come on and they talk about like connecting with your future self. And it's kind of hard for us as humans to see ourselves that far in the future and care about that person. We're almost dissociated from the future version of ourselves because it's so far away. We don't view it as something relevant to our immediate needs right now. And that's just a survival thing, right? We want to avoid pain and access pleasure as humans, right? So we want to do the things that are good for us now. It's almost not intuitive to do something good for yourself that far in the future. So what I like about Opolis is that I set the percentage amount that I want out of my paycheck to go into my retirement account. So I don't have to think about it. I can set and forget it and know I am doing something good for future Rachel, which feels really awesome.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And I like that the whole mental quantum model about envisioning yourself in the future, because, you know, that's a whole other masterclass series we could do, but I it's so important.
Absolutely. In that docu-series, Money Explained, I think they use face apps. Do you remember that face app where you can basically see an older version of yourself? They were having people do that to connect with their future self and be like, what are you doing for that person? Yeah, so it's pretty cool. I definitely recommend checking that out. So next we will dive into our work rewards. So this has got to be one of the coolest, most unique aspects of Opolis. We have tokenomics incorporated to our employment framework. So this is a unit of patronage and basically gives you future profit dividends of Opolis when we become profitable. And we have something called payroll mining. So as you process payroll, you stack up these work reward tokens and you can actually stake them in your member dashboard and grow that as you process payroll. Grow as you grow. And you can see more about our work tokenomics at opolis.co on our website if you want to learn more. It's under our resources tab. So that basically shows how we grow or basically how we plan to distribute work tokens and basically the epochs and time frame for distribution. So simple steps to membership. So anybody listening to this that is like resonating with this in any way, shape, or form, I'm happy to hop on a call with you. I'm happy to connect you with one of our membership success stewards. And these are the steps we're going to take. So number one, if you haven't already done this, we're going to establish your business entity. Number two, you're going to employ yourself and set up your personalized payroll with the help of one of our membership success stewards. And they make this like dumb easy. When I first joined, they just answered all my questions. Like they will become your best friend on a call. Like shout out to David and Jeremy. They sat up on a call with me till like 3 a.m. my time. Like this is the level of passion this team has. Like,
it's amazing.
They just sat on a call with me for like 3 hours.
Even I experienced it. I remember talking to Jeremy. He was so helpful. And yeah, you guys are incredible.
They really care. They will just give you the most personalized, like tailored care to your needs. And it's so cool. They will be your best friend by the end of the call. It's really awesome. And then, you're going to elect your benefits. So this is optional right here. All the benefits are optional except for the life insurance. Life insurance is the only thing that's not optional. Super, super cheap though. So we have our health, our dental, we have our medical, dental, vision, and retirement plans you have access to. So You elect what you want, and then basically every pay cycle will deduct the amount for your benefits. But you don't have to use them. You can just set up your payroll and, get your legal proof of income and semi-monthly pay stubs if you so choose. And this is how the personalized payroll works. So Opolis acts as your employer of record. So your client is going to deposit into your business bank account, number one. Number two, Opolis invoices your business. And then Opolis deposits to your business bank account, it debits your business bank account, taking out any taxes and benefits that you've chosen. And then at the end, your net pay is deposited into your personal account. Now, one of the coolest things about this is in your membership dashboard, you actually have a built-in calendar. So you never have to guess like when the invoicing period is. All the dates are laid out there for you. And I know if you're busy like me, that really helps you out. Just have that calendar live there and to be able to reference it to see the different pay cycles, the different dates that you need to be on top of. So that's really helpful. We've just pretty much made it very easy for people to operate as a freelancer. Like all the legwork that goes in individually, if you're doing this without a cooperative, we help to make it easier. Okay, perfect. And that's all I have. I hope that I provided some good information here. And thank you, Jawna. I'm ready to go into the Q&A.
No, Rachel, this has been amazing and so helpful. In fact, that last slide that you just showed, that showed sort of like the workflow. Can I just ask you, this is my question, and then I'll get into the questions that have come in. So in this scenario, if I understand this correctly, I could, in theory, be working on 4 different web3 projects, or maybe it's a mix of like 2 web2 projects. And when I say web2, for anybody that is not familiar with all this lingo, and if we're using too many acronyms, I apologize for that. I try not to do that, but web2 just means sort of like the SaaS world. So think of like tech companies that utilize like AWS, or if you think of like Airbnb or consulting firms and things like that, or just traditional companies that are not yet Web3. Those are Web2 companies. So pretty much the majority of the world is working in that space. So this could apply to people that are working in that world, that are consultants or independents in, let's say, maybe they're a contractor for Google, right? Or maybe they work at Deloitte or something like that. And then maybe they have one foot in Web3 and they're working on, I'm just going to make up these names. Like maybe they're working with Uniswap, or they're working with MakerDAO or something like that, but they're getting paid. So in theory, I could plug all of those in to my dashboard at Opolis, and somehow this would magically be taken care of for me.
Ding, ding, ding. Yep, you got it. So you have sovereignty over your employment. You can work from wherever you want with whomever you want, right? And you update that in your membership dashboard. So basically, we don't need to know where you're working. We just need to know the amount that you're grossing annually. So you update that on your membership dashboard. Let's say in the state of California, you need to be making at least $70K annually, because we're compliant with US labor laws like FLSA, which give us standards on minimum wage annually. So let's say you're earning like, a couple tens of thousands of dollars from like Uniswap, and you have another project like MakerDAO. You can combine these and just update the annual amount that you're earning on your membership dashboard. So I think that's one of the coolest aspects of Opolis, that you have portable benefits and payroll that go with you wherever you go.
So this is amazing. So I could be paid traditionally, like in form of like USDC, for example, or like a bank transfer.
We have crypto-friendly payroll. Yeah, we have crypto-friendly payroll options.
Okay, so I could do like crypto or fiat, and good old-fashioned give them access to my bank account type of thing.
Yep, absolutely. With crypto, you would need to off-ramp your assets, and I can set you guys up with a call with one of our membership success stewards. They will walk you through and make it so easy. And our accounting team is also super lovely. They're really good with answering questions as well.
Wow, this is great. And so, okay, great. So thank you for sharing all that. So I'll go into some of the questions that have come in.
Awesome.
So while we're talking, let's see. We have had some questions come in. Okay, the first one is, you'll like this one. If I'm an American or Canadian living in another country, sounds familiar, can I still sign up for Opolis, and how would that work in terms of where I live, or is where I live irrelevant?
We would need to assess your individual situation. So it really depends on where your LLC is incorporated. Also, your physical address does matter. So we need to look at the time. If you have like a temporary visa, work or school visa, and you're there temporarily, but your permanent address in the United States, then I believe so. I don't want to say it's strong yes, but I believe so. So something I recommend with this individual, Jawna, if you can share my Calendly link, we can schedule some time and we could do an individual assessment and pre-qualify.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that answered it okay. I want to make sure that I'm referring to resources from my team and the membership success stewards to accurately answer and onboard individuals.
Yeah, this is perfect. And this is just a reminder also for anybody tuning in. We will post all of the links. We'll post Rachel's Calendly and her team, how you can get in touch with people. And also just a reminder, because I say this for anything related to MIDAO, this is not legal advice or investment advice. This is just information that we're sharing with everybody. And Rachel has put her Calendly link in the chat here. And when we post this out and share it on LinkedIn Live and on our various socials, we will include all of the references that Rachel has made to the people she gave shout outs to. And also we'll be sure to include her Calendly link if anyone wants to set up time with her.
Yeah, so Jawna has that Calendly link. We'll be sharing it out. And number two, I think this is also a really important resource to share. So like I mentioned, I'm hosting and producing season 8 of Crypto Sapiens. We actually did an episode with a lawyer who's working in the crypto space and also with Adam Miller from MIDAO. So we talked about individual incorporating your DAO, and also we talked to the lawyer and got some insights as to what is required for incorporation.
Perfect. Oh, this is great. Okay, great. So, which brings me to the next question. Ready? It's along those lines of incorporating your legal personhood as a solopreneur. So in one of the slides, it says, in one of the slides, you showed the first step as setting up an LLC or a legal entity.
Yeah, I'll go back to that slide real quick, just so we can have it up.
Does that, the question is, does that happen automatically via Opolis, or are you informing, when I say me, I'm reading the person's question, are you informing me that I need to go and establish a legal entity such as an LLC in the US?
We will help you set it up. So it doesn't, there's no automation there. You work with our team and we set it up for you. So we can help you. We can gather all the information that we need. We can help you set up the LLC through one of our LLC creation partners. For me personally, I mean, there's different ways to do this. We look at the individual, right? What their individual needs are, where they're at as far as their level of understanding. And honestly, it's okay to be at any level. We believe you should just focus on the work that you love, and we take care of the red tape stuff. So if you are a bit more advanced and you know more about this stuff, I actually started my own LLC a couple of years back, and that's what I'm using now as a contractor through Opolis. So I went through LegalZoom independently, and I had the LLC already set up. So technically, if you have the LLC already created, it makes it a bit easier when you get to Opolis, but we are totally down to help you. If you're lost, confused, that is what we're here for. So there's multiple pathways to getting set up, but yeah, we are here to help if you need the support.
And Rachel, I don't mean to put you on the spot on this one, but do you remember, like, what does a LegalZoom LLC go for approximately?
Ooh, so I got the package, like when I first, got into my entrepreneurship journey, I felt like I was just jumping into the abyss and I had no idea what I was doing. So I just paid for all the extra bells and whistles, like the, lawyer on standby, like all the extra stuff. So I think for me, it was like close to 300. I think it'll go anywhere between 200 and 300 on average if you're incorporating in the US.
And is that a one-time fee, or are there any annual fees? Oh,
one time. I think there is an annual fee actually to keep your business active, but I think that's going to vary from state to state and in different jurisdictions. So as far as the US goes, we can meet with you and assess your individual situation and go over what the nuances are in your area. Perfect.
Okay, great. Okay, ready for another question?
Ready, let's go. I hope I'm answering these okay.
Yeah, it's like Jeopardy trivia. Are you ready? Okay, so with regard, you mentioned health benefits. So this is an American writing in. I'm an American that moves around, a digital nomad in the United States. Hey, digital nomad.
Hey.
We see you, we know you, we appreciate you.
We are you.
We are you, exactly. We are you, exactly. So this individual, he asks, how are my benefits able to travel with me? Did I understand Rachel's presentation correctly? If I live in Montana for 3 months, and then California for 3 months, and then Florida for 3 months, et cetera, et cetera. Am I able to obtain health benefits in each of those states, if I understood you correctly?
Yes.
Oh, really?
So
Wow.
This is national. We have like some of the highest quality, top tier healthcare providers in the United States. So you are not limited to your state's providers. You can travel from state to state and still have those benefits travel with you. Let me pull up the benefits slide really quick. Sorry, I'm flipping through trying to find it right now.
Rachel, because I've worked for many big public tech companies that were like, very successful in the multi-billion, really huge tech giants. And in one instance, I was living in one state, and I remember trying to go to the doctors when I was visiting in California, and I was denied because they said, you don't live here.
That's really common. That's common when you're on the state exchange.
Exactly. And that's how I discovered I don't have national coverage. I have coverage in the state in which I live only. A lot of people know that already. I didn't, because I was not somebody who was, frequenting the doctor every week or every month.
Yeah. And we do have digital nomad members of Opolis. So, we do have people that move around quite a bit. As long as you have some sort of permanent address for your business in the United States, then you're good to go. You can, do your digital nomad thing, work from wherever with whomever as much as you'd like, and you have national healthcare coverage through Cigna.
Amazing. Wow, that's great. That's great to know. Okay, let's see. Okay, here. You held up 2 books during this session. Could you please hold them up a little bit closer and a little bit longer to the screen?
Yep, I got you. So here we go. I'm a book nerd. I have at least 3 to 5 books living on my desk at all times that I constantly flip through for motivation. So This is The Sovereign Individual. I haven't finished reading this yet. Okay.
Hold it up a little closer, please, so we can see. All right, leave that there just for a second. The Sovereign Individual. And they can find.
This is a big one. Shout out to my good friend Kayla. She is in the middle of creating, or she's a founder of an AI organization, Meet Milo. She introduced me to this. So there is a quote in here that really relates to DAOs and kind of the whole ethos of working independently. I shared this at the DAOIt Paris. If you don't mind, I could share a bit from this.
I was just going to ask you, can you please share, and can you also please tell us why you love this book so much?
Why I love this book. I think this book is a testament to those who have ever felt trapped in a job, who have ever felt trapped in a paternalistic employment structure or an employment hierarchical structure that has made you feel less than or inferior or trapped, right? I think this is showing us that we have a new pathway to work, right? To have sovereignty over our employment, ownership of our time, and ownership of our assets. And I think, with the coming of cryptocurrencies and AI, I think we are in the age where that is more accessible than ever. And this book is a testament to that. So that is why I love this book. I'm not done with it yet. I'm like 110 pages in, I think, but I'm loving it so far. So flipping a bit forward, I found this section from the book that I really love, and I spoke about this at the DAOIt Paris. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and read this if that's okay with you, Jawna.
Please do. Please do.
Okay, awesome. So the information age means more than just a growing use of powerful computers. It means a revolution in lifestyles, institutions, and the distribution of resources. This is, stemming back to DAOs, which I love. Because the role of covert violence in controlling resources will be sharply diminished, a new configuration of wealth will develop without the coercive mediation of government that is characterized by the 20th century. Because location will mean much less in the information society, there will be a diminished role in the future for all organizations that operate within rather than beyond geographic boundaries. So something I wrote here in my notes about DAOs, right? DAOs are a borderless way for us to work collectively and are really great for the gig economy. So I just love that it mentioned that we are going to transcend geographic boundaries, right? As independent sovereign workers. So yeah, I really love that part there.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I also love that, the book references, okay, we're in the information age. And what I like to know and what I always like to ask is that today we're in an age where it's not good enough to know, because we all have access to a phone or a computer, or if we don't, we know somebody that can, look this up for us. So it's not enough to know. People need to know how and how to. So is something like that book a good how to?
I think it's more equipping you with knowledge, right? I think I have the how-to book right here. So this is the knowledge, right? This is just equipping you with knowledge of the transition to the information age. This book was actually written a while ago, and it's talking about current events. It's kind of weird. I think this was written the year I was born. I'm pretty sure, like it was around the what was that big like computer crash that happened in the 2000? What is it? Y2K. Y2K. So they talk about that. So it was around that time, like leading up to the year 2000. The author included an excerpt in the beginning now talking about how, the coming of AI and cryptocurrencies really ties into these concepts. So it's kind of crazy to see. He was talking about all these things as they're unfolding now. So yeah, highly recommend this book. This is to arm you with the knowledge of how we're transitioning into the information age and becoming a self-sovereign individual. And this book right here, written by my former colleague, Devin Marty, this talks about succeeding in a decentralized organization. So I'm sure a lot of our listeners and viewers today, we got the name DAO in this masterclass. So this talks about succeeding in decentralized organizations. My colleague, Devin Marty, just did an excellent job. He has a very academic background studying business. So he actually talks about the tenets of improvisation, right? So he actually relates it back to acting classes and working with scene partners and collaborating together, right? To get the optimal scene, the optimal result. So yeah, I think Devin really did a great job in this book. It's called The Decision-Making Employee.
This is great. Now, would you say that this one is more how-to, or again, is this sort of learning how, like just becoming aware of what's possible?
I think it's a mix of both, but I think this has a bit more practical insights in relation to the how. And this is more big picture. So think of this one as big picture and this one as the more practical guide for succeeding in a decentralized organization. And then now all of this, I like to relate back to the why. So Ikigai, always.
Let's hold that up again. I love this book. And I don't know if anybody tuning in has ever gone through this exercise, but you can do it through this book. And I even know there's like free resources on the web that people can look up. Just if you don't have the money to buy the book, or it's not the right time to buy the book, there are ways to do that. But Rachel, can you share a little bit more about just, when you went on that journey for your Ikigai, and did you discover if you don't mind me asking, did you discover anything new, or was it just, it helped put everything in perspective?
Whew. Yeah, that's a loaded question, but I'm happy to answer. So this started for me. Okay, I'll go way back. My father introduced me to this concept. And as you know, Jawna, my father passed away about a month ago. So this is even more like just really close to my heart, My dad introduced me to the concept of Ikigai, and he showed me this Venn diagram. I forget, I think I was around 10 years old. And it just stuck in my head, like subconsciously, it just stuck with me. And then during the pandemic, right? The pandemic hit and I had this really introspective period, and I started thinking about it more and more. And I was like, what is my purpose? What should I be doing, right? What does the world need from me? What am I good at? What do I love? And what can I get paid for too? Because in the modern world, as things are getting more and more expensive, I have to sustain myself financially as well through pursuing my passions and what the world needs. So I sat with this and drew this Venn diagram out so many times, Jawna, like just trying to figure out the answers and get closer and closer to it. And a little bit about my journey, how I got closer to those answers was through superfoods. So I felt like I was going through a period, this introspective period, suffering from a bit of anxiety, a bit of depression, which a lot of us, I think, experienced during the pandemic time, just all this uncertainty and craziness. So I drew out this Venn diagram and I was like, what am I good at? What do I love? What does the world need from me right now? What can I get paid for? My background actually started with going to art school. So I was a creative and an artist before anything else. And I felt like, what can I do to bring my creativity and harness that into solving real world problems, right? So I actually started my own business. And yeah, there's a lot in between that, but my mother sent me a juicer for my birthday. And this was, around the pandemic time when it just started. So I looked over at my juicer. I was on my couch, like drawing out this Venn diagram, trying to figure it out. And I'm like, if I really want to get closer to the answers that I'm seeking, I think I got to get healthy. I got to eliminate the mental fogginess. I just want to be in a good, higher vibration and state of mind. So I ended up doing a juice cleanse, which changed my life. I started feeling clear, more focused, more happy and joyful. So I really went deep into doing the physical and mental cleansing through superfoods. Then I ordered bottles and I decided, this is a gift. This is something I want to give back to others. So started selling juices, started this business, and then started working with nonprofits to help create a sustainable business model that is cyclical with our planet as well. So yeah, that's like a little part of my story, but found my ikigai and, started my journey as an independent solo entrepreneur, started my business, discovered DAOs, discovered web3, absolutely fell in love with the potential of DAOs. And here I am a few years later and writing a book on impact-driven entrepreneurship. So it's really changed my life.
It's amazing in such a short, so I say short period of time. You lived it, so it's different. But just thinking from when I first met you, which was not that long ago, right? It was February of 2022 where I met you, and
it's like 20 crypto years. 20 crypto years.
Dog years, exactly. It was so long ago, but it's a really beautiful story that you just told, because it's like you're sitting down trying to go through this journey and you look over at this juicer and it's sort of like part of your answer, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for superfoods. Like I started this cleansing journey. I studied holistic nutrition at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. So that has always been central to my core and my purpose, right? Is, being healthy, feeling good, operating on a higher vibrational frequency, and helping others to do the same. So that really was what jump-started my professional solo entrepreneur journey. And discovering DAOs, I don't know, that completely just changed my life also. Like I was doing all these things, growing my business, getting healthy. And my friend invited me to join something called Bridge Builders DAO. And I was like, what is a DAO? What's an NFT? I didn't know any of this stuff back then. So I started joining these calls every week. And I was just like, kind of in awe seeing these people join these calls every week. I was like, these people have the energy of like change makers, of disruptors, people that are truly going to change the world for the better. So yeah, then I discovered Sustainable Development DAO, and I was like, this is right up my alley, right? This is something that is helping give back to our planet and make an impact through a decentralized business model. And I just pretty much became obsessed at that point. I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. Yeah.
And that's where I met, that's sort of where I got, just for the audience, I mean, that's where I had the great fortune to really meet you and get to know you. And so for me, that was really special. And it's, it feels like 7, 10, I don't know, 21 dog years ago, but it's not that long ago. And I'm really happy to hear that you're onto a new tree or green type of project can you just, as we wrap up here, can you just tell the audience a little bit more about Tree Gens, if you're able to share, or if this isn't a good time, we can do it.
Sure. I can give the high level. So Tree Gens is a project. They are working on planting trees globally, specifically, I think, mangroves in Kenya. So if anyone knows of Jimmy, he's working on 4 Trees Club and Tree Gens, and I am in talks to start doing some work with them as well. So my friend Jimmy, he has won the Guinness World sorry, I'm tongue-tied here. He has won the Guinness World Record for the most trees planted by an individual in 24 hours. And a little crazy context for this.
What's
Did
the
that.
record?
I don't know how many trees. I just know he broke a world record for planting the most trees. So sorry, Jimmy, I forget the number. But he did it, right? But he didn't have the official like person there to grade or watch each planting. So he had to do it again. So he broke the world record 2 times. So yeah. Go ahead.
The second time validated the first time, basically.
Yeah, with the Guinness World Record, there's like a strict grading criteria, right? Like you have to have someone there making sure you actually broke that record and watching you.
Wow.
I don't know all the logistics to it, but I know he had to do it a second time to actually be able to prove he planted the most trees. So 2 times.
Gosh. Well, I'm sorry, Jimmy, but you know what? The world thanks you because it means he planted twice in me, right?
He's been going all over Africa, I believe, planting mangroves in like Kenya. So this has really just gotten my attention as a really impact-driven project. I actually spoke this morning on Impact Zone with Jimmy. So they do Twitter Spaces, and I'm going to be joining those more and collaborating. And I really want to get an excerpt from Jimmy. And I also talked to Kevin Owaki from Gitcoin DAO about getting excerpts from these very impact-driven projects for this book as well.
Oh, that would be fantastic. And so for the audience, we will reference all of this in the clips that we send out. And Rachel, I just want to thank you again for your time today. I love talking with you. I love your energy. I love all the projects that you're working on, and you're a huge inspiration to me. And I think to so many other people that if they get to be in your orbit or sphere, consider yourself fortunate and lucky because Rachel's is about as real as they get. And it's been a privilege talking to you. And I appreciate your time today, Rachel. Thank you.
Thank you. This is an absolute privilege for me. I hope that everyone listening, I hope I provided good information. And again, my calendar is open. I want to make communication as accessible as possible. And I'm here for you if you need help on your solo entrepreneur journey. Thank you, Jawna, for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And everybody, Rachel's information for Telegram is up here. And then, as I said, we will post this out and we'll include everything in the socials. And that's a wrap. Thank you, Rachel.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jawna, for having me.
Thank you so much.